All right. Welcome everybody to 1 Million Cups. Glad to see everyone. Any new blood in the room? New folks? This guy, I like it. Okay. Well, since it's your first time, we're going to show you a little video, explain 1 Million Cups. It's quick, to the point. So watch it. We're going to give you a test question afterwards. Okay. Awesome. I love it. I love it.
1 Million Cups is a weekly educational program developed by the Kauffman Foundation.
Over the years, we've added more cities. It creates a great energy here to see what's happening across the country.
What I've learned from other entrepreneurs is very, very valuable.
Sitting in a room with other people that have ideas too, it helps people to leave thinking, you know what? My idea is worth something. It's worth pursuing. It's worth going after it. Even if it looks like a challenge, I should still go out and try to do it.
And now you know. That's what 1 Million Cups is all about. Please check in on the app, the 1 Million Cups app. Show some love on your Twitters and your Facebooks and your Instagrams, because you weren't here if you didn't check in on social media, right? Yeah, I mean, that's the way it is. I'd like to thank our sponsors, the Kauffman Foundation, Innovation Hub, the ASB TDC, and Lavia's Coffee, the wonderful coffee that you're having right now. Great presenter today. I will say the organization that he works for, my clients have worked extensively with, and I've not got one bad report from him, which is good because we get a lot of bad reports. So, but without any further ado, C.J Sentell with Forge. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Hello. Good morning. Again, my name is C.J Sentell with Forge. Forge, if you can read that little writing up there, stands for Financing Ozark Rural Growth and Economy. It's kind of a mouthful, but we just go by Forge. Forge is the oldest revolving loan fund in the state. It was founded in 1989 by a group of organic farmers in Northwest Arkansas before they could borrow money from the USDA and the FSA back in the days when they thought these crazy organic farmer guys. And so they banded together, they pooled their money to loan to each other. And that started Forge. And if you notice, I said we're a revolving loan fund. We're not a bank per se. We kind of act like a bank in some ways, but in other ways we don't, and I will go into that with you. But a revolving loan fund is just a pool of funds that are loaned out, and all of the interest and all of the proceeds from that go back into the loan fund to loan back out to other entrepreneurs. We are a CDFI. In 2010, we got a CDFI certification, and that's a certified financial, a community development finance institution, right? And the Treasury Department wanted to create a layer of credit and lenders below the traditional banks, okay? So they formed and started certifying these community development finance institutions, and that's where we are. We exist below the banks to provide credit to people who are unbanked or unbankable, right? And so that's our traditional sort of clientele. We, of course, in the last couple of years have expanded our focus. You'll notice I'm in Little Rock today, and it's not very rural around here. But so about 2 years ago, we began to make loans. Our board authorized us to make loans all across the state. So we are now in all 75 counties. Most of our loans at this point are still in Northwest Arkansas because that's where we're best known up there. But we are, and that's what I was hired to do, is to spread the Forge word all across the state. So we have 3.5 employees, and I say I'm a half-time employee of Forge, so we're not a big organization, but at this point, you know, we've got a loan portfolio of about $5 million. In the next couple of years, it'll grow to $7 million. So we are on the upward trajectory here, and we are doing that by reaching out to entrepreneurs like yourself in Little Rock, in Fayetteville, in Jonesboro, and all across the state. So a couple of thoughts here. How many of you are going to be needing to access capital in some sort of way in the near future? Yeah? Great. Do you already have a relationship with the bank? Yeah, well, that's good. Good start. A lot of the people that we see do not have traditional relationships with banks. Some of the people, including the people Jared has been sending us lately, can access that system, but choose to go with Forge because of our social mission. So our social mission, of course, is to provide access to capital to people who can't get it, okay? Who can't get it traditionally. And a lot, our loans vary in size. We make a loan from $500 to $200,000. And the $200,000 is not a fixed limit by federal mandate or anything. It's just what our board wants us to focus on at this point. So, if you're looking for an amount anywhere between $500 and $200,000, we can help you with that. Not being a bank, we're not subject to some of the regulations that they are. So we're a lot more flexible in terms of credit, your credit score. That is not something that we have a hard and fast rule on. We have made loans to people not just with poor credit, but with no credit, okay? Working in the rural communities and rural economies, we come across this quite a bit. And frankly, I was surprised by this when I first came on, that, people can have not just no credit, but zero credit, never bought anything on credit in their life. So while we traditionally focus on these people, we are expanding our focus and trying to reach out to other people as well. So $500,000 to $200,000. Unlike some other CDFIs in the state, and there are a few others, everybody gets a flat interest rate at Forge. And so, some people tag or peg your interest rate to your credit score. And again, we don't do that. We look at a whole range of issues, not just your credit. So anybody have credit above 700 here, right? That's sort of 680, 700 is what you're going to need to get a commercial loan. That's not the case with Forge. And we're proud of that. There's lots of things that can cause your credit to be bad, and you still be a good bet in terms of an entrepreneur, right? And in terms of growing the local economy. So when I say we look at a whole suite of characteristics, your credit is one. We do look at your credit, but that's not what we base your decision on. Character is a big deal to us. We like people who are embedded in their communities, who are committed to their communities, who are going to hire people in their communities, who want to stay in their communities. That's a big deal to us. If you have a lot of community support, that's a good deal. And there's a variety of ways we check into this. Collateral. We see this a lot. And people who want to start a new business but have very little in the way of collateral. A bank's got certain kind of regulations that they have to collateralize to a certain % of the loan. We don't do that. We do try to locate or identify some assets that we can use as collateral, because we believe it's important for you to have skin in the game, so to speak. But we do use some guarantee programs. With the AEDC has a minority business certification program, and they can guarantee loans up to 90%. We also work with the ADFA, the Arkansas Department of Finance Authority, and they do loan guarantees as well. But we do a variety of businesses. We've done, Hounds Lounge in Little Rock, and we've done a pet store in Mena. We've done a guy in Newport who started his own internet company where he goes and puts Wi-Fi routers on top of silos and barns, right? So to give the rural community access to internet. And we also do traditional event planning services. So we've done a lot of different kinds of loans. There's no one particular type of business we're interested in. We are interested in building the local economy. If you want to get our heartstrings going, that's what we're interested in. Employing local people and building up the Arkansas local economy and local businesses here. Any questions at this point? I could go on and talk about several different things, but yeah.
CJ, what we'll do is, if you get a question, if you would just repeat the question and then, go into your answer portion of that. So questions, Forge, let's go.
Yeah. Yes, I think it is. So basically, we do have several private investors, and over the years those have grown, and we are looking to grow that. But we sign a very simple investor agreement that we guarantee, we guarantee a 2% return on your money right now. So if the federal discount rate is below that, it may be even close to zero, right? It was 1.5. Oh, and I forgot to repeat the question. The question was, we offer returns to investors at or below, pegged to the federal discount rate, and right now that's below 2%. But we're offering 2% right now. That's right, 2%. That's right. That's right. And again, this is, I'm sure you've heard of this. I mean, this is social impact investing. These are people who have money they'd like to invest and put to good use, right, while getting a small return. So it's less return than you would get in some other instances, but you still get a return nonetheless. Very low, very low, very low. Yeah. That's right. That's right. So I mean that is that's kind of our niche market, right? So when you submit a loan application to a bank, a computer algorithm is going to spit out a yes or no. When you fill out an application at Forge, a human being is on the other end receiving that piece of paper and looking at it and making a judgment call, right? So there is more risk in that sense if you think algorithms are safer than people. But we're pretty good at this. We have a 0.6%. So 0.6% default rate. Very, very, very few defaults. And in the past couple of years, there's been none. So we are pretty good at what we do. And so I'm the guy really that goes out, especially if you're outside of Northwest Arkansas, I'm the guy that goes out and meets with you, sits down face to face, looks you in the eye and makes a call. And we're pretty good at this. I mean, it's intuition more than mathematics, but we're pretty good at it. That's exactly right. This is relationship banking, right? This is a relationship. And many of our lenders, once they get the first loan, they come back for a second. We've got one person has gotten 6 loans with us. So it is building a relationship over time, and that, just gets better over time. Yeah, anybody else? Yeah. So, and just to be clear, so the question was, how do we deal with investors? Is this accredited investors? The short answer is no. These are individuals and organizations. There's some Catholic charities that have traditionally been investors with us. There are some private individuals. So it's not at that level that you're thinking of. And I should back up and be clear. So Forge has several, for lack of a better word, pots of money, okay? So we borrow money from the SBA, from the USDA, and other federal agencies, and we've got these private investors, right? So we've got several different categories of funds that we can apply. So if you come to us and you're in, for example, Malvern, Arkansas, right? And you want to open up a restaurant in Malvern. Well, that's our ED knows all the criteria, and he says, oh, that's eligible for a USDA rural development loan, right? Whereas if you're starting a home health care service in Little Rock, that's not. and we've got SBA money for that. If you apply for something and it fits none of the criteria for our pools, then we go to our private investor money, right? That private investor money is unrestricted, so to speak, right? We get to decide where that goes. And so we can make, you know, one of the larger loans we've made recently was for a daycare down in El Dorado. And he wanted to buy the building. They were already in business for a long time, and he wanted to buy the building and couldn't get access through a bank. And so we used our private investor money for that. So, you know, we've got lots of different pools of money, and we draw on them according to what type of business you're wanting to start. Yep.
Money available for community projects. Also, the reason why I asked that Paris saw one of our initiatives right now is broadband.
Yeah.
And a lot of times, those communities have problems generating enough capital to buy the equipment that's needed to provide broadband to the communities.
So the answer is, you know, the question is, let me try to get it short here. Say it again succinctly. Yes. Is there money available for community projects? And the answer is yes. In fact, that is also one of our niches, is that we will make loans to communities and to nonprofits, right? So if you know, like a nonprofit that's having trouble, that's one that comes to mind, and helping them get back on their feet, or starting a nonprofit or a community organization, that kind of project, a community project to provide rural broadband access, that's going to be an interest to us. So, you know, our core demographic is sort of the working poor, so to speak, right? People in rural communities who are working every day and want to get a leg up in the world, right? And so by spreading out into Little Rock and other urban areas, that demographic is changing just a bit, but that's still some of our core interest is in, I mean, we're a rural state, right? And that really is a core interest of ours. Oh, we turn people away all the time. So the question is, do we turn people away? Do we run into any problems with that? Yes. I mean, you know, just because we're a nonprofit and just because we're a community development finance, it does not mean we're like handing money out hand over fist, right? We turn people away frequently. We just, and that has to do with their project mainly. Yeah. That has never been a problem. And we have lots of resources right now. And, you know, so our ED over the past couple of years has been very good at finding these funds and fundraising. And as we raise our profile across the state, that's becoming easier and easier. Winrock, I'm not sure which entity exactly. I think it's the Winrock Foundation or something. Rockefeller Foundation has been a longtime supporter of Forge. And so again, but you know, as our profile rises across the state, more and more funds are becoming available. I should say that, you know, for last year, we were the micro lender of the year for the SBA. And the year before that, we were the micro lender of the region. So Texas, Arkansas, Louisiana, Oklahoma. So we're the top, you know, and we're a very small organization, which is kind of surprising, but we are making a lot of loans. We have a lot of resources for people that we believe in and we back up. So, you know, we've gotten recognition at the national level and increasingly locally. So, micro lending is just lower amounts, right? It's just not, you know, huge commercial type loans. And I should say that, you know, if you got a loan with Forge, that is a personal loan. And not necessarily a commercial loan. You can do it through your business, but it's you tied to it. Yeah. So the question is, what are the most, given that our history is in Northwest Arkansas and we're moving here, what are the most impactful areas? I don't know, like, are you thinking about business sectors? Yeah. So, this type of activity is really what we do most of, going to talk to small groups of entrepreneurs and business people across the state. Sometimes there's 2 people in the room, sometimes there's 100. We work closely with the Arkansas Small Business and Technology Development Centers. We get a lot of referrals through them. In Northwest Arkansas, we just have had and so more people know about us up there, and lots of people in lots of different communities know about us. Moving down here, I'm trying to connect with people outside of our traditional commercial business focus, areas, and that includes the tech sector, and people like this, So in small towns, we do laundromats and pet stores and tobacco stores and farms, that sort of thing. And in the city, we just have to focus on different things. And that has proven a little bit of a challenge just because we're unfamiliar with that. But being down in Central Arkansas is an important thing. And that's, that gets back to this personal relationship thing. So we're in the community and we want to be embedded in the community. We don't just want to fly in and meet you and fly back to Northwest Arkansas, so to speak, but we want to be in this community and know you and know your clientele and know your customers. And so that's what we're trying to do. So, I mean, in terms of impact, it's slow going because a lot of it is personal relationships, and trying to build up that network and awareness of Forge throughout the rest of Arkansas, right? So.
All right, thanks, CJ. We like to end these same for everybody.
Yep.
It's how can we as a 1 Million Cups community help Forge? And I think that was a lot to do with that question you just got asked is,
Yep.
Just preaching the gospel of what you're trying to do. And I really appreciate it that you base some of that on that character, because a lot of people, it's always been said to me, it's easier to get a loan for $100,000 or more than $100,000 or less. So,
I've heard this too. I mean, and it shocks me, but it is. I mean, getting a loan for a lesser amount is harder sometimes than it is getting a big commercial, very high, identifiable and knowable loan, right? And so, the thing, if you were interested in helping Forge, is just to mention this to other entrepreneurs, people in your community, right? I mean, these businesses don't have to change the world. They just have to help a family and a community, and that is real to us. If you want to change the world while you're at it, I think that's great. And we've helped businesses get started that are now talking about franchising and that are growing at a tremendous rate. And that's very exciting to us. But, we also are just as concerned about the laundromat loan and the rural Wi-Fi provider loan. I mean, that's our favorite loan right now. We talk about this guy all the time because he's climbing, grain silos and helping country folk get access to the internet. I mean, this helps communities.
it's quite all right.
Uh-oh, that's ominous. So the best way to help us is to spread the word and encourage people to apply. I will say that you've got to apply. You can call and we can talk and we can talk and we can talk, but until you fill out the application, that's when it really all gets started. Go to the Small Business Development Centers. They have a tremendous amount of resources for you and will help you do a lot of different stuff. And when you go to them and then come to us, that's a check, right? I mean, a lot of times we get applications and we say, why don't you go talk to the Small Business Development Centers? And then we'll be ready to talk more. Because we do, we go through your whole business plan and we explore market, viability and all of this stuff. But they do it professionally.
Well, thank you. And could you speak to that just very briefly about the process of filling out an application for
Yeah.
Forge.
So right now, and this will soon change, we're about to get a new ED and an executive director, and we're going to try to make this more online and more streamlined and automated. But right now, you go to our website and download a 6-page Microsoft Word document, and you fill it in and you send it in. You can mail it, you can snail mail it, you can fax it, and from that point, we pull your credit and do a kind of a cursory evaluation of the application. And if you're down here, I'll get it, and then I'll set up an appointment with you. I like to come to your place of business or your proposed place of business so we can imagine what it looks like together and talk about this, and meet any employees or any other investors you may have. But right now, you just go to our website and you download the application. If you're approved, you will come to our office. Our office is in Huntsville, Arkansas, which is about 40 minutes east of Fayetteville. And you'll close all the documents. You'll do the loan closing at our office there. You can see up there that we are a membership organization, and that's a $35 one-time fee at the time of the application, at the time of the loan closing, and then you're a member of Forge. And that gets back to how all the interest, and right now I should say that the interest rate 6.5% for everybody. And on a typical SBA loan, we're doing 6 years. If you're doing real estate or something like that, we can go longer. And that, again, gets into the type of activity you're doing and where it fits. Some of that USDA rural development money can be extended out much longer at much more favorable terms, I should add too. But you join the organization and you're a member of Forge for Life, and you get your check and you start your business.
Thanks, CJ. We really appreciate it. Round of applause, everybody.
Thanks.
Any announcement? Any announcements? Any announcements? Not right now? See you next week. Thank you.